What's up, guys? Welcome back to On the Table podcast. On the Table was inspired by conversations based over at Built Bodyworks while on the table. Successes, failures, life, relationships, all of it. I've been inspired by them, and I wanted a platform for them to be able to share their stories with you. So today we got Jordan. Jordan is an athletic trainer, also does body work. Just a little side piece. Jordan is probably the most similar type of work that I've ever gotten to what I do, and I only say that because typically, my wife says this all the time. She's like, "You're probably kind of picky when you go get work from other people because you want your work," and I'm like, "You're right, but you're that." So thank you.
Yeah.
Jordan, geesh, we've only just recently connected, but him and I have had some really cool conversations in the bodywork world, business. And I've just really loved your experience, especially working with TB12, kind of our mutual friend, Alex Guerrero. Yeah, shout out, Alex.
Shout out.
But yeah, man, so the first time I ever met you, geez, I was 16, 17. You were playing BYU Rugby.
Yeah.
I went to the national championship. So starting there, like, tell me a little bit about, do you feel like in playing sports, that's when you kind of knew you wanted to get in athletic training or in any type of the bodywork field, you know?
Yeah, absolutely, man. Brants, that brings back a wide variety of memories.
Right.
Playing back then, meeting you for the first
time.
I know. Oh man, that was a great time. But no, definitely playing sports, helped inspire my or helped guide me in deciding what it is that I wanted to do for a living. I played rugby at BYU. I played football growing up as well, and playing, both those sports can be pretty, tough on the body and whatnot. And so, I had been through the injury process a handful of times, and just seeing different therapies and their effect on the body, and the speed at which you can get somebody better through different therapies. Definitely pushed me more towards body work and what that can do in speeding up the recovery process.
Dude, totally. I feel like when you're on the other end of things, it does kind of open up your eyes to, like, how could this be implemented? If not, I don't know, being the athlete yourself,
Right.
I remember even, again, I was probably 17 and used to get some work done from Alex here and there.
Crying on the table.
Yeah. I watched it. And then I got work done myself, and I almost cried too.
Sweating, gripping the table.
Yeah. That was really cool.
Yeah.
What do you think was kind of a connecting piece to knowing, maybe not even knowing, but that you would eventually work with Alex or TB12 or kind of go into that realm too?
Yeah, absolutely. So I knew Alex through his son, Josh.
That's right.
Yeah,
oh my
so
gosh.
me and Josh went to high school together.
Okay.
And we were in choir together, choir boys.
Okay.
And so I met Alex that way, and we'd go over to the Guerreros and go into the basement and look at all the signed
memorabilia. Yeah.
Everything, and it's like, holy smokes, like, this is incredible. And
you name it. Jerseys, boxing shorts, baseball hats, cleats, basketball shorts, helmets.
Yeah.
His basement was full of it.
Right, was full of it. And so first off, I gained a relationship with Alex, just being a friend, hanging out with Josh, going out and chilling in the hot tub, having just deep conversations about whatever. And so that's how, our relationship built. And then as I was at BYU and playing rugby, right, you mentioned Alex was nice enough to work on me through some injuries, and I was able to experience, man, what a high level of recovery through that. And I was able to experience that, like, wow, through an injury like this, maybe it would normally take me 4 to 6 weeks to get better, and he'd get me better in 1 to 2 weeks.
Okay.
And so very quickly I was able to see, like, this is something that I've never experienced before. It hurt like hell.
Yeah, right. Oh, yeah.
But the rate at which I was able to get better was incredible. I mean, I have specific memories of being hurt and thinking I'm going to be out for a while. And
Which is
Alex,
typically what they tell you,
yeah,
right?
that's what my trainers were telling me. And Alex would be like, no, you're playing next week.
I love it. I love it.
And, and so that was a pretty amazing experience. And so then when I was in school, Alex was telling me about TB12 and that they were going to start that up, and that when I was done, he wanted me to come out to Massachusetts and work for him. And so, knowing who he worked for and the success that he had, and experiencing the treatment myself, I knew
100%.
that it was nothing that I had ever experienced before, and I knew that I wanted to learn how to do that. Right. And how to help other people, because on top of that, when I didn't have Alex to help me, I had experience getting, I wouldn't say bad therapy, but just not the right.
I was actually going to ask you about this,
where I had some back injuries, and I had seen all kinds of different doctors, multiple therapists, and nobody could really tell me what was going on. They couldn't tell me why I was experiencing that, but basically reverting to, I had to stop what I was doing, or let's get an injection, a corticosteroid injection. And that really didn't sit well with me. And so I really wanted to learn a really good therapy and be able to give people answers 100%. For why they have the pain that they have, because it gave me so much anxiety with my back, not knowing, like, okay, is what I'm doing helping it or hurting it? Is this going to contribute to my back going out again? Right. And so I know that there's people out there that experience that same anxiety, not knowing if what they're doing is contributing to their shoulder pain or their back pain or whatever. So,
dude, I love it. I think that's probably one of the favorite parts about what we do, is just giving people guidance. And I think I want to go back a little bit to Alex's approach of, instead of the typical 4 to 6 weeks, he's like, nah, you're getting better in 1 to 2 weeks. I think there's a couple pieces of that I've loved to analyze and break down. One, when people are told that you have 4 to 6 weeks, how do you think the brain and body take that? Okay, I've got
that's
4
what
to
it
6
expects,
weeks.
and so it's like, oh, I'm not going to be better till then.
Exactly. But when Alex has the confidence, not only in his work, but to work with the brain, the nervous system, and say, no, we're going to get you back to it in 1 to 2 weeks. I think there's something huge to that. And I see a really big difference in that, because you're right. Most people come in and they're like, I have no clue what's wrong. And I'm like, let's figure it out.
Yeah.
That's the funnest part. I want to hear a little bit about your experience just with TB12. I mean, did you have an opportunity to work with Tom at all?
Yeah.
Yeah?
I feel like I was pretty lucky where I got there early on, and the business was still small. And,
Okay.
Tom would be in there almost every day, and,
That's crazy.
starstruck, first time meeting him. He's a tall guy too, and I'm short. And so, looking up to him like, wow. And, but man, what a great person. And, I just respect him so much for everything that he does, and just the work and mindset that he has. And I feel like, a part of that was instilled in me now, and seeing, how he works. And
right.
Anyway, so yeah, I was able to work with him a little bit, and
that's way cool,
in the treatment room, and then doing some drills out on the turf. And that was just like a crazy experience.
That's wild.
Never thought I'd have that experience.
Right. I don't know how you'd want to wash your hands after working with him,
I didn't for a while,
Yeah.
Yes.
No, just playing. I know most of like your interests outside of this are with CrossFit, and then you had an opportunity. Was it Matt Fraser?
Yep.
I think that was one of
Matt
like
Fraser.
your bigger opportunities as far as consistent body work with some athlete in that realm, right?
Right.
How was that? Talk to me a little bit. I think, wasn't it like a back thing?
Yeah. So he had something going on, and I had started doing CrossFit myself like 2 years prior. And so I was like, anybody who's like done CrossFit, like the beginning of it is super exciting, and like it's all they want to talk about.
Right.
And so I was like in that phase, and then Alex asks me if I'd like to work with Matt. And I'm like, really starstruck because I'm like,
Yeah.
oh man, like this is my sport now. This is what I do. And Matt is the GOAT of the
Matt
sport.
Frazier,
Matt
correct? Yeah,
Fraser,
yeah, yeah.
yeah.
Crazy.
And so, yeah, it was it was such a fun experience. So yeah, I would travel down to Tennessee about every
Nice.
2 weeks and stay there for a
Really?
few days. And a part of me was like able to kind of live their lifestyle for a little
Yeah.
bit because like
So you
we
trained with him a little bit?
I would train with him a
Okay.
little bit.
That's so sweet.
You know, he was like, "Do you wanna hit this workout with me?" And part of me was like, inside's like, "No," because I know it's gonna hurt.
Yeah.
I'm gonna die. But like, you can't say no
Crush the ego.
you can't say no to working out with the fittest man in the world.
Right.
And so, no, it was so fun. So we'd wake up, eat, um, do some body work, work
Perfect.
out, repeat.
Really?
Over the next few days. And so similar, you know, in working with athletes like Tom, working with athletes like Matt,
Mhm.
it's just so cool because in the professional world, right? All the athletes, or I shouldn't say all the athletes, but most of the athletes are pretty genetically gifted
Right.
to be doing whatever it is that they're doing. Sometimes the athletes don't need to try as hard, you know,
Interesting.
right?
Okay.
But being able to work with somebody like Matt and someone like Tom and see like, wow, not only are they like genetically supposed to be doing what they're
Yeah,
doing,
right.
right? They're doing what their body's meant to be doing, but they're not backing down and they're doing every little thing that they could be doing to make themselves better. And if there's something that is taking away from that, well, then they get rid of it.
Just
They
cut it
take it
out.
out of their life.
Mhm. Man, I'm so glad you brought that up because I'm curious. Like, I think the funnest part about working with different athletics, and it doesn't, amateur, professional, whatever, there is a certain common ground with their mindset. And even if they're just genetic freaks, really, really naturally good at what they do, what's it like? Do you feel like, because I love talking about this as far as just being around their mindset and who they are. And I always look at them because from the outside in, we're like, man, they're at the top of their game. Fittest man in the world, Tom Brady. I mean, the freaking GOAT, right?
Yeah.
And you're like, but there's still this thing inside them that's like achieving greatness daily, you know?
Oh, totally. It's like that. It's a progressive mindset of you can't just focus on like what you've accomplished.
Mm.
They're always focused on like the next.
Yes.
Yeah, it's the next. You know, you ask Tom, they'll ask him what's his favorite Super Bowl, and he's like the next one.
Oh yeah, I
You
love
know?
that quote.
And so I really saw that with these athletes too, that they don't dwell on their accomplishments, right? It's great
Or their
and it's
failures.
fun, or their failures for sure. But really focusing on having that daily mindset of what are we going to get better at today, right? It doesn't matter that to them, it doesn't matter that they're the greatest,
Mm.
right?
Don't even really see
Because
that.
they still have room for improvement. And so there's still things for them to work on, right?
That's cool.
Right.
That's really
And so I enjoy working with them for that reason. And, it's helped me, right, be able to take on that mindset too of like, I'd never want to get to a point where I'm like, oh, I'm like set. I made it. I'm there. Because it's
Mhm.
like, no, there's always something that we can improve on or get better at.
Amen.
Right.
100%. I think that working in this field with sports, and some people may look at it on the outside, it's a really cool job, whatever, but the energy of working with this people comes back around too. Cause like within business or within your own personal growth, like when you're working around these people all the time and you're seeing what they do, it definitely instills something in you
Dude, it
too,
rubs off
you know?
on you.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
when you're around people who aren't like that,
Yeah.
you're like, no, I don't.
You notice that.
I feel that influence, and I don't want to be around that.
Yeah. Yeah. That's crazy. I love it. Do you have any particular experiences or favorites kind of working in that area, as opposed to, and I'm going to jump into this next, kind of what
Yeah.
you're doing now here back in Utah, but any other experiences you want to share, anything?
Yeah.
Just being out there.
Being out there, well, one, moving across the country, that was a crazy
Yeah.
experience, right out of college. We packed everything up, moved out, and landed out there.
When opportunity calls.
You got to take it,
Yeah.
right? Because
Yeah.
they're not always going to be there.
It's true.
But no, it was so fun. I feel like, and I feel really, blessed and lucky, and shout out to, everybody who trained me out there, and
Yeah, right.
Alex
Alex.
and James Castrello, my
Oh, cool.
manager. They really taught me a whole lot, and, are a big reason for where I'm at today. I feel like it's everybody's goal in our field to work with pros,
Right,
right?
right.
Everyone wants to get there, which I'm so happy for you with the
Thanks,
Jazz.
dude.
Like when you told
Thanks,
me, I
dude.
was so happy for you.
And even then, it's like I still feel that same thing. I'm super grateful for where I'm at,
Right.
but I'm like, man, you're like, you just want to keep chasing.
Yeah.
There's something inside you,
Yeah.
and
Just keep going.
I don't know if that's per individual or some people have it and some people don't. But again, I still think it has to do with the energy around us. Because like when you'll talk to the players, like I'll work on them post game, they do not even talk about the game. They are on to the next thing.
Oh yeah.
They don't talk about it at all unless you bring it up, and even then you can tell there's kind of this shortness. It's like, nope, I'm ready for the next thing.
Yeah. Right. Being able to work in with the pros was what an amazing experience. So fun, right? You're working on these athletes during the week, and then they're going out and performing on the
Yeah.
weekends, and like you're just you're a part of that.
Yeah.
And so when they succeed, you're like, man, you just feel good.
Yep.
Or they get hurt out on the field, and you're like, oh, we're gonna be seeing them this
Yeah.
week. But then it's like we gotta grind, right, so that they can get back to playing, because their bodies are their jobs, and like if they're not out there practicing, then the backup is in their place, and if they can't get healthy, they're gonna lose their spot, and then they're gonna lose their job. And so there was a lot of like pressure put on us to, especially with the pros, that they need to get better really fast,
100%.
right? For that reason, because if they're missing practice, that's a good chance that they could be losing their spot.
Mm-hmm.
I was able to work with athletes from the Patriots, the Red Sox.
Nice.
Fenway, Fenway's such a great place, super cool. Definitely missed that place.
I drove by it when I was just in Boston with the Jazz. We drove
Yeah.
right by it.
Yeah.
Crazy
Yeah.
history there.
Crazy
Anyways.
history. Boston sports are just like so fun. The fans are awesome.
Love
They're
it.
just like diehard.
True fans.
True fans.
Yeah.
Whether I was working with, professional athletes, or just like our, because the center was open to the general population.
Right.
So we would have people getting hurt doing random things, bending over, picking something up,
100%.
And so, and this is one of the reasons why, I love the name of your podcast so much, On the Table.
Yep.
Is because, right, when people are there on the table, like you just like get to know them so well. And Alex,
and there's no way around it. You're
Right.
working one-on-one. They're already vulnerable, letting you work on them and their bodies.
Yeah.
So
Right. And doing it, and they build a lot of trust in you, because you're helping them solve a problem that they didn't have the answers for. They didn't even know why this was happening.
Yep.
And so you're helping solve all of these problems for them. They there's a high amount of trust that is built through that experience. And so then when people get on the table, they open up,
Yep.
They become your best friend. They tell you everything, like,
Yeah.
and so
I love it.
I'd say that's another really satisfying thing about what I do is it's really satisfying helping people, and then it's also really fun talking to people.
Getting to know
Just
people.
getting to know people, know their stories, and so,
That's
yeah.
why you're here now, man. That's why you're here now. I love it.
Yeah.
Transitioning a little bit, I guess, more into what you do. So you're back here in Utah.
Yep.
Started your own thing, correct?
Yep.
Lowry
Performance and Recovery.
Got it. Okay. Talk to me about kind of how that's been and what your goals are, maybe what your sessions are like. I think both of us are, in a sense, very results driven, finding the answers, but I think it's all very functional based, right? Especially working with athletes or active people in any realm,
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, we moved back July of last year. So we've been back about, 9 months.
Okay.
Started the business in August. I gave myself like a month off to just play, be back in Utah. This is where we grew up. And so we took some trips, and then it was time to get to work. I didn't even have like an office yet. So I just had my treatment table. I started working on people in my parents' basement.
Yep.
But I just knew with my skill set and experience, like I just needed to get my hands on people.
Yep.
right? That was like number one. Like just I don't care where it is, right? I'll come over to your house, like, or whatever. But I just need to get my hands on people, and then that's how it was going to grow.
Mm-hmm.
Eventually got my first office in Orem,
Nice.
which was great, renting a room and a spa there. Now I own another office in Park City at a gym at Park City
There you
Fit.
go.
As I started working on more and more people, and shout out to all my family members, friends, and clients, because I haven't paid any advertising or marketing or anything like that, but client would have a great experience.
They share it.
They share it. Everybody knows somebody who's got a nagging injury or something that's got going on, and so I'm really grateful to them. And I give a lot of my success to the growth of my business to them and my clients sharing
Right.
their experiences, where financially we grew really quick. We
Love
got
it.
to a point where I was finally happy, and
Okay.
okay, like this is gonna work. Because number one, it was like
yeah.
I just need to see if this is gonna work.
Oh, yeah.
That's
Oh,
goal
yeah.
number one,
Yep.
right? And so 4 to 5 months, we get to a point where I'm like, okay, I don't need to like worry as much about finances, which again, I'm super grateful, because most small businesses take 1 to 2 years to
Right.
get to that point. And so yeah, so that's kind of how it grew. Start of the year's been even better. We continuing to do well.
Yeah, yeah.
And
Because you just moved up to Park City a couple months ago?
couple months ago.
Cool.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, been there for 2 months, and I'm there 1 day a week. We're gonna be there 2 days a week starting next week, and so then I'll be 2 days a week in Park City, 3 days a week in Orem.
Nice.
And the question of all questions has been, right, how do I
do
want to grow this, right? It worked, right? We're here.
Yep.
People want it, right? So what's the best way to grow it? And we've had plenty of conversations about you hire,
Absolutely.
what do you do, or do you just raise your prices? And
Right.
so those are all the questions that we're asking ourselves now, right? Great problems to have. I'm happy
Absolutely.
that I'm stressing over this now, rather than we need to get clients so that I can make money for my family.
Yeah.
It's a different stress, and I'm grateful that that's what I'm stressed about now.
The good kind of stress.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I want to touch back. I remember a long time ago when I asked Alex for some advice when I was getting started, and that was his first thing that he said was get as much hands-on time as possible,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like people have to actually experience your work in order to know how to share it and what you do. And it's interesting because I definitely think, I mean, we're not just like a spa type of routine. I mean, this is definitely, we're going to get to the issue. We're going to help you figure it out, and it can be intense, but we want to help you. We want to figure out the problem. So
Right.
I love it. What would you say? Yeah, kind of a little bit into your sessions a little bit.
Totally.
Is your main focus? What are some things that you might do a little bit differently? And again, I think our approach is somewhat similar.
Right.
So yeah, go ahead.
Definitely. So, right, somebody comes in, they have an injury, they're dealing with something. So number one, I want to help. And what I do is I try to really talk through what I'm feeling, what I'm doing. I want to help educate my clients so that they can understand their body.
Yeah.
Right. Understand, why this injury happened in the first place.
Mhm.
Right. And what are the things that they can do to prevent it. So first thing that we do is I help them explore the reasons of why they got hurt in the first place. What were you doing? Right? What was the action? What were you doing leading up to the
Mhm.
injury? And then address the different things that affect muscle function.
Yeah.
Right? Because if we have a healthy muscle, then it can fully contract, fully relax, and support our body to do whatever we want it to do.
Mhm.
And so a lot of times when we get injured, it's because the muscles aren't able to do that, right? And it can
Properly
come
functioning.
from a handful of reasons of the muscle that is hurt, has too much tension, got too tight.
Mhm.
And so, I'll help explore in their body and show them where their areas of tightness are, right?
Yep.
Help educate them on these are the areas that we're going to work through and loosen up today. And these are the areas that I want you to continue to, to stretch and to foam roll, right? Because when muscles are too tight, they create too much tension. Too much tension equals pain.
Mhm. Mhm.
And so there's that. There's also helping them learn about their own muscular imbalances,
Yes.
right? So there you can have muscular imbalances between a muscle and its antagonist, where maybe a certain muscle is working too hard,
Mm-hmm.
right? And that's why it's hurting. And so we need to help balance the body out by getting its turning the antagonist on, and
Yep.
to bring balance back between those
Yes.
two muscles.
The push and the pull. Yeah.
Exactly. Push, pull, right? We can't just work the chest, but we got to work back
Yeah.
as well. So finding balance in the body that way. I would say that's probably the best word is helping restore the body and getting it back to a point where it's balanced,
Yes.
right?
100%.
Muscles that are too tight, we got to loosen them up. If you have a muscular imbalance between two muscles, we got to fix that, and then boom, it's balanced again. We talked through hydration,
Yeah.
right? Muscles are 80% water, so if you're not drinking water, right, then you're not doing yourself any help and getting yourself better. Sometimes, we'll do a little movement analysis. So they've got like a lower body issue, let's take a look at your single leg balance. Let's look at your squat. Let's look at your gait. How are you walking? How are you running? So taking measurements that way really helps me just to see how their body is moving. And a lot of times too, when I look at their squat, it's like, oh, well, that's why your knee hurts, right? You're kind of leaning over more to that side, knees coming too far forward. So where, in the medical world, sometimes somebody has an injury, they'll go in and get imaging. The imaging doesn't show anything. They don't have an answer for why
It's
that
still
knee
hurting.
hurts,
Right.
And so they're still left wondering, okay, well, what do we need to do to get this better? Where an image is great, but it only shows us, it's like a static picture, right? It's like shows us if structurally something's going on.
Yeah.
Where I'd say I go after functional problems, right? Like too much muscle tightness, right? Too much muscle tightness isn't going to show up in an image.
Right.
Right? A muscular imbalance or somebody's squat pattern, right? You're not going to be able to look at someone's MRI and be like, oh, this person has bad mechanics in squatting. And so it's really important to address and change the way that people's bodies move.
Yes.
Can help for sustained, longevity, where a lot of times it's the bad movement patterns or, like the bad posture, sitting at your desk for so long that all of those things are contributors to your pain. And so they need to be addressed if you truly want to not just get out of pain, but stay out of pain.
Yes. I love it. Dude, this is why I trust you. I love the approach on, the test and retest. Let's actually see how your body moves. It's not just when does it hurt or when did you hurt it? It's like, let's see it live, and then let's try it again.
Squat for me right now.
Yeah. And again, I think that instills trust and confidence in you and trust and confidence in their bodies, especially pre and post session, right? I think that's huge.
Right.
You want people to know that they're feeling good before they leave. Instead of, hey, go tell me how it feels at the gym today or tomorrow. It's like, no, let's try some stuff right now because I want you to know that your body is progressing, that your body can heal.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of mentality and stuff behind that too. So anyways, dude, thank you so much for being here today. I really appreciate you. I've loved the opportunities to trade work with you and all of our talks. I think we could go for a lot longer than this for sure.
Yeah.
If people need to find you, Park City or Orem, correct?
Yep, Park City and Orem.
Instagram, one of the best ways.
We'll
be tagging that too.
Instagram's the best way. Lowry _PR.
Okay.
And that has all my information. My website's connected to that. There's videos and tips and whatnot that you can go on and get started with. So
that's what we do.
Yeah.
Love it, dude. Okay. Well, appreciate you, man.
Yeah, thanks,
Keep doing your thing.
Glad you had me. Thanks.
Absolutely.